remember, and didn't want to just ask the question and say what movies are we actually watching for this week.
Yeah, I forgot Casino. I had to check that as well.
I starred the picture of the movies that we chose to go back to and look, because I think every week or every 2 weeks we ask what movies are next. So somebody will at least ask it once.
Remember,
Well, I
ages
think
ago,
I've actually starred the message, and I'm too lazy to go and see if I've starred it, and just type the message.
But remember before as well, we used to put that as a profile picture of our group chat was the two movies. And then now it's just a picture of Jordan Henderson and Stephen Gerrard celebrating doing Saudi.
But was it those that like who's been Roger Rabbit for about 18 months?
It must have been that.
Because I had too much time in our hands.
Pictures are all at the time. Forget.
Those were back in the Twitch days. Remember the Twitch days?
God.
Aye.
The good old days.
When you had to actually be on that certain time and whatever, and you couldn't be late or cancel weeks as much like we did last time because there'd be uproar.
I know.
I wonder if any of our international listeners or who are once viewers are still listening.
I actually think with our Twitch, it still shows that we've got an active schedule on it. So I wonder, so we've still got 312 followers on Twitch, and our next stream is on Monday at 9 o'clock. We're streaming.
I feel sorry for the people that are still, every like Monday they're logging in and thinking, oh no, again this week.
One day they will be back.
Our schedule is, guys, so I hope you're ready for Monday at 9 o'clock. 2 movies reviewed every Monday at 9 o'clock, from 9 o'clock till 10:30.
That's quite short. For 2 movies.
I know. Might be used to do 2 movies a week.
Oh, we really
don't watch nightmare.
That was when people were on the verge of quitting because it was too much.
You know, there was a jam-packed football schedule we had to fit in as well.
And I'm surprised. I'm waiting for the first complaint about the fact that Casino's a 3-hour movie.
Sorry I don't speak moron as well as you, but let me try.
What the hell is supposed to do, you moron?
It's a moron. That's not against the law.
Gun! You fucking moron!
Stuff like Batman.
Because he is Batman, you moron.
What are you, a fucking moron?
Ah! You moron! Drop dead. Moron.
Whoa!
Up here, you morons!
Stepping morons like yourself.
Me down, you moron! Hey, moron!
Who do you think will give it first, the complaint?
I mean, I'm pretty much complaining right now, to be fair.
I've got it noted as well.
I assumed you didn't think it wasn't going to be your complaint. I assumed it was going to be, you were saying someone was going to complain, basically me or Sean. But
I think we'll get into it anyway. But
who picked Casino?
That would be me.
That'd be you, Hunter.
That's Andy. Me.
Me. I do love that. I love the fact that we still reference it by ourselves. But if people have listened to us for this amount of time, they will know our voices by now. So they will be well aware that was Sean that said me there. But welcome into another episode of Morons Review Movies. We hadn't actually decided which movie we were going to do first, but I think Casino seems like a hot topic that people want to talk about. Also helps me as I just watched this one today, and I watched next week's episode about a month ago, so that'll be interesting. Casino out in 1995, as already pointed out, 2 hours and 58 minutes long. In Las Vegas, 2 best friends, a casino executive and a mafia enforcer, compete for the gambling empire and a fast-living socialite. Socialite? I'm not well, so excuse the slurring of words. Just filling up on cough medicine over here. Hunter, you picked it. I want you to take it away.
I'm not going in assassinating this film in the slightest, but this was very underwhelming after what people had bigged it up to be beforehand. The subject matter in the genre, Scorsese, De Niro, Pesci, it should fall into A, a film that I'd seen before, and B, something that would potentially be in my top 10. But see, for me, this, I mean, the acting, when there was acting, was great. However, I felt like the first hour and a bit, it was just like moving pictures with narration rather than storytelling, and I felt like that did definitely drag on a bit. And then also like as the story kind of developed over time, we were just kind of. Do you see like maybe some like Goodfellas where he's having to follow it with the missus? It's over and done in a couple of minutes. This it seemed to drag everything out that little bit more, and I think obviously this would all go to obviously Scorsese's sort of film career. Like obviously, I think this was like one of maybe the last major ones he did in this genre as well before the Irishman, and again that's another fucking elongated, prolonged film takes this extra time. And adding stuff to stories that doesn't need to be added to definitely downscores that film massively. And obviously this one as well. I mean, there are some good plus points of it. As I said, the acting, when there was acting, was good. I thought the soundtrack was good. I thought the visuals, the effects, very sort of the time, that sort of 80s, 90s, it was very good. However, I just can't help but feel that this film failed to deliver in the way that I expected it to.
I would agree with what you were saying, Hunt. I was going to, when you said about how the first hour seemed to drag a bit, I think I felt the opposite to an extent, but then after 2 hours I felt the film had dragged in because it seemed as if it was that much it was just a really, really slow build up, and I was thinking like I ended up watching this over 2 sittings because after about an hour and a half I was like, if I watched the extra hour and a half I'm not going to enjoy it, so I wanted to try and give myself the opportunity to enjoy it as much as possible, and I think the first 2 hours they could have just made the story a lot better with a lot more going on, or just reduced it in length, one of the two. And then when you mentioned about the relationship De Niro has with his wife, is that again, it seemed as if it was dragged out towards the end, but then at the very start of when they're getting together, that's just really fast. There's no like, it's weird. Like there wasn't like if they had like a continual decent pace, it would have worked a lot better. Instead of them basically being meeting, getting married, which I think in terms of the film length, it must have happened within about 15-20 minutes, I think. And then obviously the rest of the film is just having a really toxic relationship and her wanting to kill him and all this stuff. I just found that weird.
I completely agree with the two of you. Like, I watched this today, and when I finished it, I genuinely, like, I felt like I've been watching it like non-stop for like 3 or 4 days. It just seemed to just drag on and on and on. Also, the narration over it, like, just like at the start, I thought, right, so we've got a wee narrator just kind of introducing the characters, a bit of background about them, and then 45 minutes passed and he's still narrating about character. I was like, how fucking long are we going to do this? And Joe Pesci's character is just the exact same for Goodfellas. Now, again, I'm not a filmmaker, a director, whatever. But is that laziness? Like, what's the point in that? Like, could Scorsese have come up with some kind of different character? It's literally the exact same personality, the exact same characteristics, psychopathic. What's the deal with that? I don't know what you. Obviously, I'm sure you'll tell me your own thoughts on it, but I just think it's quite lazy.
It seems really lazy. Definitely seems really.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Joe Pesci's character was good, but I think it's because my memory's quite bad, so like I can't really remember a lot of the films he's been in and stuff like that. So
at least with Home Alone, they made them family friendly. He just says fuck every fucking 2 seconds.
But like, see if you'd watched this and you hadn't seen Goodfellas, you think that character was brilliant. But Goodfellas is a million miles ahead of this. It's so clear. So to just do this, and this was after Goodfellas, wasn't it?
Aye.
So to just give us the same character again in a pretty similar kind of setting, well, in terms of like the mob, I just find really, really bizarre in the space of maybe 5-6 years, however long in between the films. And I just found myself getting a bit more annoyed about that as the film went on, because if I wanted to, like, I just wished I'd stopped and just put Goodfellas on halfway through, and I could probably come on here and give a review anyway what happened, because I just feel like I've seen that film before, but I don't know, I just felt really bizarre about it. And the thing about Sammy's wife, like, how many times, like, he's tied his daughter to a fucking bed. She was doing cocaine in front of his daughter. I don't know if you know if he ended up finding out about that. She's pumping his best pal. She's done so much, and he just keeps letting her back in the house constantly, back in the house. He kept saying, "Oh, because he loved her and all that," but he knew that she never loved him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for this persona that his character is, like this ruthless bastard. We've seen it throughout the film where he's like catching the cheaters in the casino and and all that kind of stuff. Like, he comes off as like this right powerful guy, and he's just she's got him just eating out of the palm of his hand. And I was like, how many times are we going to see this? She's a nasty cunt. She's a junkie. She's an alcoholic. She's got all these issues. She's causing none but issues for that. Oh, she's back in the house now. Oh, he's getting the killer. Oh no, she's back in the house now. It just seemed to go on. It was just a big cycle for 3 hours, constant. I mean, this film could have been an hour and a half easily.
I agree with what you're saying, Sean, about his relationship with his wife. Is like, I didn't know whether, like, from the start he knew what she was like. So I don't know whether they thought that, because he made a comment earlier on in the film about how he was saying how he was in love before he wanted to get married, and she was like, "I don't love you," and it was as if he thought he was able to either change her or make those feelings grow. So I don't know whether it was as if that was, but it did seem a bit weird how it could just be. How he was going about firing, even like his staff, he was happy to go about firing them for doing anything wrong, and then she's obviously doing all this stuff, and then it's like 10 seconds later she's back in the house, forgiven, back together, and kind of live without her.
But I don't really blame her for that. Like, he enabled that side as well, because she told him from the start that she didn't love him, she didn't want that side of it. But she was happy to live in the royalty life that she was having, and she was still in love with her junkie ex, fucking scumbag of a guy. So I have no sympathy for him in the way that she acted. She obviously, when she takes the daughter away and they're doing coke and all that, like, the only bit that really annoyed me with that is, like, the daughter's probably at an age where she tells her dad everything. So she, like, that was a bit of a strange one for me, that side of it. But it seems out of character for him, and I suppose he was in love with her because she would have been the pretty glamorous girl that he probably thought he could never have. So that'll be his vice, so to speak, just like her having that for that Lester.
It felt like the film was building up to like a kind of, like a showdown. Well, like a showdown between Sammy and Nicky. Everything that was going on between them, like how Nicky was going behind his back, all this kind of stuff. And then it just never happened. Like, it just made that whole, like, how they started off as best friends, and then Nicky wanted to come to Vegas, and Sammy wasn't too sure on it, but eventually came to Vegas, and that Nicky's just went even more psychopath. And it just felt like it was building and building to kind of like a final showdown, and one of them's going to kill one another or whatever. And then Nicky just gets done in the jungle with his brother, whatever it was, and Sammy somehow survives a car bomb. What I found really annoying as well was that obviously the opening scene, you see the car explode.
You see that happening, yeah.
But then, and when it shows you at the end, he jumps out the car and every window is intact on that car, and then it explodes when he's outside it. Like, I just found that really, really daft. It was nothing like the opening scene, but I just, that whole build up with those two main characters, and then for it to just peter out like it did, I just thought that was really poor as well.
What also confused me watching this movie, and this is probably something really small to nitpick on, how can Nicky, Joe Pesci's character, be narrating all the way through it if he dies at the end?
That was one of my peeves as well.
Okay, what?
Like, even he narrated his own death at the end.
Oh, aye.
Stupid.
So that felt really frustrating to me. I felt for this movie, right, it was long and it dragged on sitting watching this for 3 hours long, right? But see if this was a 4-episode series on TV at 45 minutes an episode, an hour an episode, I think I'd be a lot more invested, because someone, I think you mentioned that they got married within seconds of each other, but you spent ages watching them build this casino up, and then you spent ages watching them having a really slow breakup, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, I probably was a bit more interested in how he became this super amazing gambler that they really brushed over about how good he was and how impactful he was for the mob.
So was I, yeah.
The mob was a very small section to it where they just took money to them now and again, and then they got some permission. Like, spend a bit more time watching them come up through with them, then put them in Vegas and have a bigger influence over the mob's control over Vegas at that point, because watching him sit and go through tribunals to see if he can get his license and all that, I really couldn't care less about that part of it, to be honest. Like, I'd much rather know the mob's influence on other casinos, because this wouldn't have been an isolated thing. There would have been a lot more things going on in Vegas at that point. And I feel like if they had that over a small series of episodes rather than dragging it all into this 3 hours, where I feel like the movie, where it differs to Goodfellas, and which is funny because this movie, I always thought that I preferred this movie over Goodfellas, and I've had it in my mind as being one of my top movies ever. And then I watched this back today, and I was like, there's not that much that's enjoyable from this. It's just the same ilk of Goodfellas, but nowhere near as good. And I feel like Goodfellas had all the bits to get engaging, get you excited in Goodfellas. They took that out of Casino, and they tried to be a little bit different and tell you more of a story. It was just super boring.
One of the things that I had was, I don't know if this is just me being stupid or not, but see when obviously they're taking the money at the casino and giving it to the mafia, right? So I know obviously, like, it's obvious that Joe Pesci's character knows that's happening, right? Does De Niro's character know that's happening as well? Or is he just obviously running it and making a shitload of money working there? Or is he actually in on it too?
He's in on it as well, yeah.
Right. I didn't think that was made abundantly clear. But maybe, like, obviously I know, I think it's more because obviously maybe Joe Pesci's character was narrating it at those stages, so obviously I was thinking, well, and you could tell obviously the way the film was going that he was completely, he knew what was going on, because it was as if he was the one that was closer to the mafia, but it was as if obviously De Niro sort of got headhunted for this job because he was well known in the gambling industry and all that kind of stuff. But it wasn't 100% clear to me that he knew exactly what was going on behind the scenes, or whether he was just employed to make the casino make an absolute fortune, and then obviously they could sneak quite a large amount of money out because it's obviously making loads of profits.
Nah, he was in it.
Right. Just wondered. That was one of the things I say. I didn't know if it was me being. If someone put a gun to my head and said, "Did they know?" I would have said, "I did know," but I was never 100% sure.
And even that whole scenario where they mention that the money starts getting shorter and shorter, and they blame that on Nicky. But why is that Nicky's fault when it's coming from Rothstein's casino that the money's getting shorter and shorter? And they all know that everyone's skimming and stuff, and it's just accepted as that's what happens. But then the fact that the mob are the ones that start to get less and less, and then they start to get frustrated, and then Nicky just has this power trip where he feels he can do what he wants. I just feel like that was just so quickly ran over, and then we spent fucking half an hour watching her searching through her house for a key to go and get her millions that she was inevitably going to take. And even that pissed me off as well. The woman that he doesn't love him, doesn't want to be with him, and is purely with him for money. Just give her a key to 2 million, and that's it.
Bizarre.
Fucking.
And they show you at the start, and like, so you know it's coming. Like, they make a big deal about it. Are you sure you trust your wife? Do you mean most men wouldn't do that? Give her the only key. I mean, come on, it's fucking basic shit. That's it.
Especially when she goes, "I didn't love you."
Well,
here's a key for 2 million. Then.
What would have been the play? Would have been if she got there was just like a bit of paper that says "fuck you" or something like that. I mean, that would have been
at least smart.
Yeah.
Oh. I'm like you guys. I was pretty disappointed with this. It's been about 15 years since I watched this, at least. So I kind of thought that I liked it, but he's right. It's just like a poor man's Goodfellas, not so Goodfellas. That could be a good name for the podcast. But it's just really boring. Like Robert De Niro's character narrating over explaining things about gambling, like the guy that came in and won loads of baccarat, and then he went away and the private jet wasn't working, so they made him go back to the casino. Then he gambled more than baccarat, so they got all their money back. That was like 7 minutes of film for like, who gives a fuck about a guy that lost some money in baccarat? Like,
and it was just made obvious as well. It's like, oh, if he goes back, he'll lose money. He may have went back and won more money, even though we're limiting the stakes. He could have went to them at the cleaners, but it was just accepted. He'll lose this time.
I mean, all the whole thing was just felt really cliched. Like, even the music, like it just felt like the same generic music you get in like loads of 90s songs, 90s films. Sorry, I think that like that song by the Who's in there that's in all these films, and there's just, I don't know, it just felt a bit shit to me. I was really gutted by it. I don't even think Robert De Niro's very good in it, and it's not often I say that. He's just. He seems very, very wooden whenever he was reacting with his wife when she was going mental and that. He never quite reacted how you'd expect someone whose daughter's been tied up to react. I mean, and like you said, Joe Pesci's just being the same fucking maniac that you can't reason with. And a lot of people like those characters, and like Joe Pesci and Goodfellas, the scene is quite iconic, but I just find them quite frustrating. Like, these cunts are just like, just fucking chill out. You will not get caught. The police will not. Do you mean, see if you just want to fucking relax and stop smashing people in the face for 2 weeks? The police might not be after you for a change. Like, go just chill out for a bit. But he doesn't. He just wants to be a fucking maniac. And I don't believe that anywhere in reality, someone as mental as that would ever get to a high position within organised crime. Do you mean they would just be? They'd be chucked early on for scrapping up the tour or whatever. Like. But it just felt a wee bit tired. We've seen a few gangster films, and a lot of them are a hell of a lot better than this. And I felt like they overly explained the casino bit to try and justify that this was a gangster film, but in a casino. Like, ultimately, the casino didn't really matter. It was just a gangster film where folk all got hit at the end, and they go through the big list of how everyone died, the same as he's done in other films. Overall disappointed.
It was 3 hours to watch a 1 hour movie, basically.
Mm-hmm.
There was just not that much movie in it. It just loads of little irritable parts in it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you weren't that invested in the characters. Like Rothstein, you weren't even that arsed about. Joe Pesci, you weren't asked about. Fucking Ginger, you weren't asked about. The one thing that really, really upset me the most in this movie was that Robert De Niro's character put a pair of trousers on whilst he had his shoes on.
Was that when he was sitting in the office?
He's sitting in the office and he's got his socks pulled up to his knees, he's got his shoes already on, and then he puts his trousers on.
Never thought he had shoes on.
Fucking baby blue shoes on.
Hard drive check material, that.
What's he doing sitting there with his trousers on?
You could understand it though, like, well, to an extent, if you're sitting there in your boxers with no shoes on, but no with your fucking shoes on. Imagine the Mora you're sitting. If I'm working at home in the Mora, and I'm sitting there with a pair of boxers on, but I've got my trainers on. Where am I going? I'm going to just walk out the front with my boxers on.
Here's the question: do you just go socks before boxers or boxers before socks?
Boxers before socks.
Boxers before socks. Sorry.
Boxers first every time.
I did the opposite, and I tell you why. I remember years ago seeing an episode of Embarrassing Bodies, and this guy had like a fungal infection on his bollocks. It came because he had some sort of fungal thing in his toe, and he was putting his boxers on with his bare feet, and it got into his balls. So that doctor woman said you should always go socks before jocks, because that's how you get. So there you go. Especially if you've got like a minging toe like Sean, you should always put your socks on.
My toes are minging, it's just not got a nail. There's no fungal or anything there.
I just can't comprehend the thought of coming out of the shower and then having to sit on my bed with my fucking bare arse out and whilst I put my socks on. put my wee pants on first, thanks.
I'm naked all the time. I'm always naked.
see people as well
Like right now.
that put on their trousers before they put socks on.
No,
I find that so bizarre. It's such a
Aye.
strange look as well. Just like fucking feet poking out the bottom of your trousers. Like, put some socks on, you disgrace.
What would Tarantino do?
Take a picture, probably.
But Scorsese would just get somebody to narrate it for fucking with some shitty music in the background.
And Joe Pesci to come along and chop the foot off or something like that.
Aye.
Just the other thing what you're saying about, you mentioned, Kel, about things that weren't needed in the film. It's like that affair that Joe Pesci has with De Niro's Sharon Stone. That was pointless. That added nothing to the film.
Nah.
Because like obviously when that happens, you're thinking, oh, like I came into it said was that Sean said they might have like a showdown between the two of them. You thought, right, he's having an affair with your wife. You're going to go for him. Nah. It was just that added absolutely nothing.
De Niro
made it longer.
He makes a point to say to her, like you're sleeping with someone, but it better not be who I think it is, because that'll cause problems. And then it is exactly who he thinks it is, but it doesn't cause any problems.
Does she not admit it to him as well?
See, that's the sort of point where you would want the narrator to come on and say, it did not cause any problems.
Oh, it just is quite poor, isn't it, when you think about it? We're going to get a lot of stick for this, but I thought I was going to be a bit of an outlier here by not enjoying it, but it really was a slog.
I think we will find those giving us stick for it will be people similar to how Kyle and yourself, Daniel, came into this thinking they liked it because they liked it when they watched it a few years ago, and they still think it's that film, when in reality, it's not.
I think Dubs might be one of them, because he had said to me that he's watched it quite a few times, but I don't know when the last time he watched it. He didn't say whether he liked it or not, but the fact that he says he's watched it quite a few times suggests that he's going to have liked it, because why would you watch a movie that you hated or didn't enjoy that many times?
Aye, Dubs loves this type of film, so I would say this is up his street.
Well, fuck him. He decided not to attend and watch the movies this time, guys, so please get him in any comments. He should have been here to defend the movie.
So, he'll be the first one to attack us when the scores get posted anyway.
He gets a little behind the scenes listens before anyone else. I'm sure we'll get his thoughts. We'll get his thoughts in the chat at some point soon. But Dubs, we wish you well. We do miss you for this week. It'd be nice to have someone to come in that actually liked this, other than us.
What we could do as well, because obviously once you've listened to all this before it, we could send him our scores after it, but put them all quite high, and he'll obviously think we all liked it. And then when it comes to it being an issue, they'd be like, "Use our arseholes."
Well, he didn't even give us a review, so he's definitely not watched it recently. So we don't have a review from him to go by. Is it anyone? We've not actually talked about it this much, guys. It's a 3-hour long movie. We seem to be wrapping this up very, very quickly.
It's because it's a 3-hour film with at least an hour and a half of filler.
Aye.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, I just think the more we watch of these stuff, Scorsese's really overrated. Like, I bet this new film has his absolute shite day. There's no many that are really good. Like, Shutter Island's pish as well. Like, what are these really good films?
We did not like Taxi Driver.
No, I mean that's pretty good. Like, let's call it Goodfellas amazing.
Wall Street, Tim was it no as well.
Aye, decent. That's about it. Gangs in New York, was that him? That's garbage.
Just getting the ones where he directed. The Irishman we've not reviewed on here, have we?
No, we won't subject anyone to that.
No.
What else has he got? Boardwalk Empire was a good TV series. Quite enjoy that. One episode he done in that.
I think he done the pilot, then he was a producer for the rest of it.
He was Gangs in New York, indeed. Casino, Cape Fear, which I've never seen.
That's decent, actually. That's decent.
Who's in Cape Fear? Or Robert De Niro shot. He directed Michael Jackson's music video for Bad.
Well, just shows you the type of company he keeps. Not a very good man.
Sipping on Jesus juice.
I think what made this film better is see if they spent a lot more time in the downfall and showed the ins and outs, because that did seem a bit rushed as well. Like they kind of, I can't remember the guy's name. How they had the sort of they had the wire in the shop that he was telling his wife and his brother about all the goings on or whatever.
Well, the guy that kept the ledger of all the money.
Aye, all his expenses and whatever else. But then he was obviously just blatantly just telling them the full script. But they spent so much time just like Hunter says with filler. Like the first 2 hours could have been cut to 1 hour, and you could have added an extra half hour or whatever into the downfall and gave you more in depth about how they got caught and all that kind of stuff. They basically just said, we had all this information. The mafia got shot, killed loads of folk before they went to court, and then that's it. See you later.
How stupid was that scene where Sammy's got the license? I think it's the license folk around in his garden, and Nicky's playing golf, and then that plane lands, and then the two feds just run as if like they'll no see us if we run really quickly past them here, and we'll just leave a massive fucking plane in his garden.
But this is the thing as well with that
stupid.
scene. That's the police or the FBI running. Like they're the criminals in this situation.
Aye, I know. Fucking
Thing is, so it's all meant to be loosely based on real characters, isn't it? So there's probably these things have happened, and they're thinking, how do we shoehorn this into this 3-hour long movie? Because they'll have these little individual scenes. Like that scene there doesn't need to be in the film at all, because we all knew Nicky was getting surveillance on him, because they mentioned how he was in all the papers and everyone was talking about him. The police pulled him up for every single little thing that happened. You don't need to have that bit in there to showcase it, or take it the whole spiel about him being in all the newspapers and everything that happened, and just have that one bit and say that's the extent that they went to. Make it a 2-minute thing rather than a 30-minute thing.
It just wouldn't be like two FBI agents in suits flying a plane doing surveillance though. Like there would be a pilot. Like it wouldn't even be two guys in like the Blues Brothers running out the plane and running through the garden. Like, it's just so fucking stupid.
You think of how that would be done now, it would be some wee virgin in the back of a van with a drone. Doing surveillance.
I know, but if the drone crashed, like you wouldn't get that wee guy running out the van, running past the suspects to pick up his drone, thinking they'll see me here if I run really quick. I just thought it was really daft, that bit.
I think the whole thing just feels a wee bit like a parody of itself. Like I just feel like I've seen it all before. I feel like I've heard the style before and the same music choice before and the same. The see when it gets to the end and there's just the music playing and it goes, and this is how this guy got caught, and this is how this guy got caught, and this is how this guy got caught. That really bothered me. I'm like, I've seen this before. I've seen it a million times before. I just don't know what much there is to say about this film, other than I get that other people enjoy it, but I can't even think of many endearing features of it. Has anyone ever been to a casino and got any interesting casino stories of their own?
I've been to Vegas.
How was that?
I went to Vegas for 2 weeks. There's stories that probably shouldn't be shared on the podcast that happened in Vegas. We had a friend that we all know and love that had an unfortunate scenario where he lost all his money.
Someone stole it. A hooker stole all the money.
Yes.
That would be the one.
So.
I've never heard the story, but I know exactly who it is already.
But we'll know. We will name drop Harvey.
The only story I've got, which isn't it's more just because Jamie was raging at me. I remember. I don't know if any of you were there, but we're in a casino.
Dundee.
Was it? No, I didn't get in because I was too smashed in Dundee, I think.
Bunsey,
you must be the only person in the world to be turned away from the casino in Dundee for being too drunk. I've been in that casino probably twice. I was in it actually last year, and I've never seen like so many just. It was like a nightclub at one point. Just people were absolutely out of their face. How did you get turned away from there?
My hands were just flying about the place.
I remember
everywhere.
I remember Burnsy walking towards the door of the casino because I was about maybe 15, 20 steps behind him, and I just stopped and watched him. And he was all over the place. And the guy was just like, nah. Burnsy was probably about 5 steps away, and the boy's just like, nah. Like, you're not getting in here.
No, the thing I was going to say is, I remember, I think maybe it was Aberdeen, I'm not sure. And Jamie was playing, I don't know if he was playing poker or whatever he was doing. He was like, I'm away at the toilet just to look after my chips. I don't remember this, right? Came back, and somehow I'd lost all his chips. The seat was gone and everything. He was like, what the fuck happened? I was like, don't know. I didn't even mind actually being on the table. It's just that the following morning, it was like, you lost me, like, oh, I don't know how much the chips were worth. I must have obviously just decided that I couldn't be asked when I'm playing poker or whatever he was playing, anyone just ruined all his money.
Sorry, he's got loads of it.
It probably told you that you lost $6,000 worth of chips, but in reality it was like 20 quid or something like that.
That's likely.
No, I don't have any other. And I actually can't really remember much from Vegas, to be honest. But that's probably just due to me having a shit memory and needing my head checked, because it was like, I think it was 21.
I'm actually amazed that you remembered you went firstly.
That's impressive.
Well, I spoke to one of our friends that went not too long ago, and they mentioned that we had a stopover in Boston for like 8 hours. That never happened. Yeah. No idea.
Yeah, it's bad now. Like,
no idea. I'm old, guys. I'm old. Leave me alone. Well, if we didn't have much more to then talk about on Casino, let's do a slight plug to our Instagram. We are currently giving away a free case of beer, courtesy of Beer 52 on our Instagram. So if you would like to get yourself the opportunity to win a case of the Oktoberfest collection, which has 10 beers, so that you can get a real taste of the past, present and future of German brewing, head over to our Instagram. All you have to do is follow the Morons Reviewing Movies page if you haven't already. Like the post and tag 2 friends in your comments. You can tag more people. For every 2 people that you do tag, you will get an extra entry. There is other ways for you to get extra entries as well. So for instance, if you download the latest episode, so if you've downloaded this episode, please pop it into the DMs, as well as following the Morons on Spotify or Apple. And if you want to get yourself a big boost of 5 extra entries, if you use the link www.beer52, that's beer52.com/morons, and order yourself a free case of beer, you get an extra 5 entries. Nice. No, just a nice. I've not added this in later. We've done it all live as we're talking. But that is over on our Instagram account. Hunter, do you have any trivia? I'm sure IMDb will be fully shit about this movie.
It is full of shit about this movie, as you're correct. And I've only had about 3 weeks to prep for it as well, so I wasn't rushing in between draft transfers and the pod.
Before you go into it, what baffled me is when I looked at it and it said that on IMDb this is number 139th in the top rated movies ever, and we've actually shat all over it.
Get that to fuck.
But again, these things are voted for by people who just see the names De Niro, Pesci and Scorsese and they'll have already give it a minimum score already just because of their names.
Well, funnily enough, it's got an 8.2 rating alongside Shutter Island. That's got the same rating. There Will Be Blood, The Truman Show, Sixth Sense, Pan's Labyrinth, Jurassic Park. Some really good movies. No Country for Old Men, Burnsy, it's got the same rating.
That's shocking.
I mean, drop out Shutter Island from that list and you've just listed a bunch of films better than this.
Finding Nemo.
Including Finding Nemo.
Oh, Finding Nemo's a masterpiece. I'll keep on not bad about it.
V for Vendetta. Love V for Vendetta.
Maybe you should pick it for next round. We're getting there soon.
We are getting there soon, actually. We are. I've had a few suggestions to me that could be on the list. Trivia Hunter.
Yes. So most of the conversations between Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci were improvised. Martin Scorsese would tell them where to start and where to end. The rest was up to them. When James Wood heard that Martin Scorsese was interested in working with him, Woods called Scorsese's office and left the following message: anytime, any place, any part, any fee. Now that seems like a great tagline for male sexual services, if anything.
Any fee.
So while the movie begins by stating it is adapted from a true story, it never names the real-life casino involved. The Tangiers casino is fictional. The story is based upon the history of the Stardust Casino, a fact well documented in the Las Vegas history book. Scorsese discreetly documents this fact via the soundtrack, in which the song Stardust is heard 3 different times. Scorsese has also stated on the Blu-ray commentary, there is no plot at all. It's 3 hours, no plot, so you know this going in. There's a lot of action, a lot of story, but no plot.
Aye, I think this is where it's lost on me. I don't know, I just don't get it. I think I don't get what he's going for.
I think if you want expecting people to buy in for 3 hours, you want to give them something to buy into rather than hoping that there's a bunch of big names on it they'll buy in because of that.
And doing this,
riding the wave.
Oh, and see the wanky bit is showing you the end at the start. Like, I really hate that. I really hate that. Oh, this is the end, and here's how we got there. Fuck me. Like, I really hate that.
That is standard grade creative writing templates.
Aye. Oh, and see that bit we showed you at the start? He actually survived. Oh, we got you. Wait, fuck. Sorry, Hunter.
Sorry, last 2 here. So Michelle Pfeiffer turned down the role of Ginger because it was too similar to her role in Scarface, just minus the incest on this one. And the F word, I say fuck for those who are hard of hearing, is said 435 times in the narration, including the narration, which is 2.4 times per minute on average. It's a better record than me anyway. The film held the record for the most uses of the word until the release of Summer of Sam, which also had a reported 435 uses. However, they were both smashed out the park by The Wolf of Wall Street, which had close to 600 uses of the word fuck. And then all abbreviating terms like fuck, fucker, fucking, I'd imagine.
And another movie, I've actually got the top 10 list here in front of me as well. Another movie that we've watched before is also just behind Wolf of Wall Street, which is Uncut Gems.
Oh, that's it? Fuck.
I want to swear.
Fuck.
If someone can go back and count the amount of times that we have said fuck, fucking, or fuck.
That would be a nice best of episode. It would just be us saying fuck as many times as possible for about an hour.
Actually, is a part of our intro the music that we've got taken from Casino?
Yes, that was one of the things I meant to mention. Sorry, did you notice that?
I did. I clocked because it felt so different. When I heard it, I was like, oh, I've heard that before. Every week.
Aye, every week. Outside Movie Club, I watched Toy Story 2 recently. And that's one of them's for that as well. That's one of the morons for this for the music.
See when you're like doing that, is it like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme where it's just like the
Aye. Exactly like that. Like, oh, so I remember going and finding them that day. I can't even remember how I did it. We should maybe try and see if we can add some more in and extend it a wee bit, but I do like the way it flows now. Anyway, is that all your trivia?
That is me trivia'd out on this one.
Just to have a look at some of the plot holes that I researched earlier. See the scene where they go into the garage and jump in the car, turn on the engine, turn on the radio, and engage in a long conversation. It says here that the carbon monoxide fumes from the car engine would have killed them by the time they finished the conversation. That tickled me. Another one it's got as a goof is that, see when he throws the boy out for sitting with his shoes off on the table,
Aye.
and then Nicky phones and goes mental and starts beating shit out of the guy. It says here that when Nicky gets off the call, he yells at the cowboy for putting his feet on the table, yet Sam never told him that that's what he done.
Aye, you never got to really see the full conversation. That one's a bit weak.
So yeah, it's like, so these little ones that are funny as well. There's a bit of it. There's a character error where it talks about the guy that they hammer his hand. They asked him if he can shuffle with his left hand, and he said he'd never tried. But earlier on in the scene, you see him shuffling his coins and that with his left hand. His chips, sorry.
Maybe that's he knew. Maybe that's because he knew if he said yes, he would smash both hands.
Aye.
Or he was being clever.
I did chuckle at the choice. You can get the hammer and take the cash. Because I was thinking, a broken hand for a couple of weeks for 100 grand. Oh, I could maybe handle that.
Nah. No getting smashed with a hammer in the hand. Never be the same again.
Start using your left hand.
I mean,
Danger
using the left hand.
Well, I suppose we should get to that point of scoring this movie. As mentioned earlier, Moron Dubs has called in sick and not actually watched the movies. So please go after him.
Is he actually sick?
They're all.
All right, I thought he was out there.
Yeah, maybe he is. Decided to have his annual leave. He's not here, but it'd be interesting to get his thoughts on what he would have potentially scored this movie.
If we ever have one by the time we get the post up, we can maybe add if he has an ad hoc score we would like to add on.
We should force him to watch it and then make him do a voice note, and then I'll add the voice note in here.
Yes. Right here.
Daniel agreeing with the Dubsy's movie there.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see if Dubs finishes that, and then Daniel's like, yeah.
No.
Okay, Hunter, it was your choice. Didn't even ask if it was a scene or an unseen, but I worked out.
No, it was my unseen, so I remember the shock around the room when it was put in as my unseen, but it's a monkey off my back, at least. Let's take it that way. I can no longer pass on that shock and to say I've never seen it. But what will pass on the shock is probably the scoring that I will give it, which is just a 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5. That's a lot higher than I thought you were going to give.
I said there were some redeeming qualities, but I think I was expecting it to be 4+ from the way it was sold and given it to me in the past. So that's probably the disappointing bit.
And do you know what? That point there about what you thought it was going to be is probably the reason I'm going to score it a lot lower than what you have, because I expected this to be something that I was going to give 4.5, etc. too. But I've just been so bored and uninterested watching it that I'm going to drop it right down to a 1.75. Sean?
I'm giving it a 2.
A 2?
Yeah.
Daniel?
I'm following Sean with another 2.
Hornsey?
3 2s.
So that's a 6 out of 5 for Bumsy.
I was thinking somebody was going to say that.
We couldn't all work it out as quick as Hunter.
That's why I've got my calculator. I couldn't even work it out too.
What does that do to the overall scoring, Bunsey?
2.15.
A 2.15. So a 2.15 puts this joint 161st alongside Friends with Benefits and Almost Famous.
Oh, aye.
Almost Famous is about 50 slots too high there, in my opinion. What do you think, Hunter?
50 slots too low. In fact, I've moved in. In fact, I get that deferred in the list.
Doesn't matter now. Almost Famous was like similarly disappointing. Like I remember thinking I was going to enjoy that a lot more than I did as well. But this was just a big letdown for me.
And a movie slightly better than it, I think Bungie was a big fan of this. Girls Trip.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed that.
Oh, that was poor. That was like,
And slightly above The Crow, JFK, Us, Chicago.
oh, that same stuff. We always seem to be in that
Chicago
zone.
was
quite a lot, so-
class. That should be up. That should be top 10.
I think that's a good point to end the episode there. Chicago should be a top 10.
There's no disagreements I'm noticing, so
I enjoyed it, Bunzy. I enjoyed it much more than I enjoyed Casino.
The fact that it's down in 160th on the table shows you the disagreement.
Also, the fact that we've now rated this film lower than the experts at IMDb who had it 139 out of a list of they've got every film ever made, and then we've only got however films we've ever made, and it's 161st.
Oh God! I wonder how many movies there is actually registered on there, and we've still marked this one lower than what they've got from their list. But guys, that does bring us towards the end of this episode. Next week coming up, we have got a Sean selection, I believe.
Oh, Air, aye, I chose that. You want me to
Okay.
go into it? Like,
No, I just want you to tell them what it was, Sean.
all right,
Anyway.
the film Air.
The film Air.
I don't know what more to say, like.
Should we just leave this awkward silence here?
It's as if you're waiting for me to elaborate on it, but it's not really much point because we're going to talk about it in a minute anyway. So.
No, next week.
A week, yes.
It's near command, okay?
Air, aye.
As Morons do bid you farewell.
What else is it that way? I think command.
Of the Austin.
Sorry I don't speak moron as well as you, but let me try.
What the hell is supposed to do, you moron?
It's a moron. That's not against the law.
Gun! You fucking moron!
Stuff like Batman.
Because he is Batman, you moron.
What are you, a fucking moron?
You moron! Drop dead. Moron.
Whoa!
Up here, you morons!
Stepping morons like yourself.
Me down, you moron! Hey, moron!
Bid you farewell and good luck, morons. Bye.